The Edge at 11 starts now.
We begin tonight with a stormy night across the Great Lakes region. First, Chicago got walloped by severe weather, and now that same system has moved into Michigan.
And just how bad will it be for us here in Metro Detroit? Captain Rich tracking the radar for us.
Tanner, we are going to see some storms overnight, and some could pack a punch. But earlier today, we were at 73 degrees. That's the warmest temperature on any February day since records have been kept since 1880. Pretty unusual. But notice the clusters of storms, especially on the west side of the state. These are the ones that did go through Chicago a few hours ago. Right now, some stronger storms are building right along the Michigan-Ohio border region in southern Lenawee and Monroe counties. Here's that severe thunderstorm watch for a chunk of southern Michigan until 5 a.m. A couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. We have one tornado warning. This is Van Buren County, closer to Kalamazoo. That's out near Dowagiac, is that stronger storm. But for us, main threats are wind and hail for the next few hours especially. How about the wind advisory in effect for tomorrow? It's going to be gusty on the backside of this cold front. A lot of us are going to see some wind gusts up to 45. These are live pictures from Grand Rapids, and I've been watching this camera. A lot of lightning coming and going in and around Grand Rapids. But right now, SkyTracker is showing some pretty healthy storms here in central and southern Lenawee County, also pushing into Monroe County. So that's where the strongest storms are. These are not severe storms, but certainly some gusty winds and some heavy downpours. How about earlier today? 73 degrees. The record for today, 63. We blew that away by 10. Right now, temperatures are near 64. A lot of us, but that southerly breeze is out there, and that's going to keep us relatively mild for the rest of tonight. You can clearly see where that cold front is west of Green Bay. Look at Minneapolis, 16 degrees. So right around daybreak, that cold front blasts through the area on the backside. It's going to be windy and colder. We should actually see some afternoon flurries. But for the rest of tonight, some thunderstorms likely, and some of those could bring some gusty winds and hail. For tomorrow, an early high of 54 with falling temperatures, a lot of wind tomorrow. And then right there is the 7-day. Look at that for the weekend, 55 and 60 degrees. So always get the latest forecast. It's on the Fox 2 weather app. You can download it for free in the App Store or in Google Play. We'll see you in about 20.
See you then. Thank you. The results are in. Former President Donald Trump has won today's presidential primary for the Republicans. Trump has a substantial lead over former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley with about 36% of precincts reporting. Right now, Trump holds about 67% of the vote, with Haley coming in at about 27%.
In the Democratic primary, President Joe Biden has locked up the victory with 30% of the precincts reporting, but he faced a notable grassroots effort from his critics, angry over his response to the war in Gaza. Many voted uncommitted, which now makes up about 14% of the vote so far.
We turned out in numbers, historic numbers tonight, to turn our anger and frustration into a unified message to Biden and his administration that we are not down with genocide.
And those behind the effort to vote uncommitted rallied in Dearborn tonight. Palestinian voters hoping to send a clear message to the president as they wait for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. It's called the Listen to Michigan campaign. They had hoped to get at least 10,000 uncommitted votes. So far, they've gotten over 40,000.
Well, tonight we've heard from voters who say their privacy was violated at the polls.
Yeah, this election, voters have to choose whether to fill out a Democratic ballot or a Republican one. And that's causing some problems. Fox 2's Dave Kinchin joins us live to explain. Dave.
Yeah, there were many voters, in fact, many who called Fox 2, and essentially they said that while they were turning in their voting card and declaring what ballot they wanted, a Republican ballot or a Democratic ballot, that they say election workers were saying out loud what party ballot they wanted, letting essentially everyone in the room know which party they were voting for, thus a concern for their privacy. Now, we'll get us some video here, and we know that some people say they were so uncomfortable they left without voting altogether. We're told by several callers into Fox 2 that they filled out their card and they handed it over to the next worker, and that worker apparently said Republican ballot or Democratic ballot for everyone to hear. And also we were told that some people saw party ballots lying out there on tables in the open, handed to people, and so it was also known that way which party that voter was which one they were supporting. Even Ryan Armani said it happened to him. Now, state election officials say that they were talking with county clerks and local election workers, municipal clerks, to investigate the claims. We asked Secretary Benson about it.
Yeah, certainly we can look into changing the law in the future. I think if citizens and lawmakers are interested in going in that route. For now, we administer elections as the law requires, and that's what you saw play out today.
There's a pile of Democrat ballots. There's a pile of Republican ballots, clearly right out there. So there was a couple of people in line. Like I said, 5 o'clock, it was a busier time. And you can clearly see which ballot the person is handing you. So I never had to say verbally which party I was voting for, but you could clearly see which ballot the poll workers are picking up to give to you. And human nature, even I looked around at a couple of people, and you can clearly see what box they checked, which ballot people were getting, and I just thought that was pretty insane.
To the extent that any voter was concerned or uncomfortable by the way in which the law was applied by our local election officials today, we were there to respond and help work through the process to make sure people felt safe and protected.
Now, many people say they really would like that one ballot solution. This is really what it would essentially look like. I know it's kind of small to see, but it says for the presidential vote for not more than one, and that's on each party there, either Democratic Party or Republican Party. So something nice and easy and simple. But again, a lot of people, or some people at least, saying, and some on social media, that they actually didn't vote altogether because they heard other people's ballot requests called out loud. And again, we do know that there are some state election officials who are looking into all of this tonight. Reporting live in Detroit's News Center area, Dave Kinchin on The Edge.
All right, Dave, thanks. Well, a judge rules Kristina Karamo was properly ousted as state GOP chair. Karamo was voted out January 6th, but refused to acknowledge it, saying the meeting was illegitimate. Former U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra was elected to replace her. The National Republican Party does recognize him as chair. Hoekstra and Karamo announced last week they'd hold competing presidential nominating conventions on Saturday.
Won't be declaring victory by any means. We still have a lot of work to do, but we'll be talking about some of the success we've had in our crime stats of last year.
Detroit Police Chief James White is joining chiefs from across the country for a meeting with the president tomorrow. The police chiefs are headed to the White House to talk about how they have helped reduce crime in their cities. In 2023, Detroit saw its lowest number of homicides since 1966. Chief White plans to tackle mental health and juvenile crimes, as well as new community policing initiatives in 2024.
A Carrabba's restaurant parking lot in Sterling Heights becomes a crime scene.
This is where a case of road rage ended with a gunshot. Fox 2's Jessica Dupnack has the details of how this violent encounter happened.
It was actually a mom and her adult daughter that were involved in all of this. Both of them shot by another woman carrying a valid CPL. And that daughter, she is in very critical condition.
Incidents like this, they escalate, and look what happens. Now you have 3 people that are involved in this, and their lives are going to be completely changed forever.
Over what? Someone's bad driving? That's how it started out here Tuesday, rush hour, 5 o'clock. A woman behind the wheel of the white Dodge Durango and a mother and adult daughter in the red Jeep.
They were road raging each other, obviously tailgating and everything that comes along with road raging.
The woman in the Dodge, carrying a pistol and a valid concealed pistols license, pulls into this parking lot at Hall Road and Shaner in Sterling Heights near Carrabba's restaurant. It's unclear if that was to de-escalate the situation or inflame it. The Jeep follows and they all get out of their cars and continue arguing. That's when the woman in the Dodge fired at them, hitting them both, the daughter in her neck.
The female that had the CPL, she is cooperating with the investigation. So as of right now, we're still kind of putting together the pieces.
The mom is stable and her daughter is in very critical condition. A glaring reminder not to engage on the roadways.
Let the person go. You know, either change lanes, pull off, get away. If they're following you, call 911.
Investigators say once their investigation is complete, it will be sent to the Macomb County prosecutor to see if this shooting was justified.
None of it's worth it. Because of what? Because you're angry about somebody's driving? You know, just it's really senseless.
At this point, it's being classified as a true road rage situation, meaning both parties did not know each other prior to meeting out on the road. Reporting in Sterling Heights, Jessica Dupnack on The Edge.
Another road rage suspect is caught and now facing charges. 23-year-old Thomas Trim of Mount Morris was wanted for firing his gun twice at another driver last week on northbound I-75 at Grange Hall in Holly. The victim told police he tried to run her off the road before brandishing the gun. Trim fled the scene but was eventually tracked down by police. He faces charges of discharging a weapon from a vehicle and felonious assault. The victim was not hurt.
Well, an explosion in Detroit demolishes one home and leaves another heavily damaged, hurting 3 kids. It happened this afternoon on Barlow Street.
And right now, the cause of the explosion still unknown. Fox News' Dave Spencer with this story.
A chaotic scene on Barlow near 7 Mile at around 3 Tuesday afternoon.
Next thing you know, we heard a big old explosion, and the police was just shooting down the street. And the ambulance and everybody else. So I'm like, what's going on?
2 neighbors, Sabrina and Jasmine, heard the explosion and came running.
Walked to the corner and we was like, somebody blew somebody's house up.
A 2-story home reduced to a pile of rubble. The explosion scattering huge pieces of the house throughout the area.
It's not even a house no more. It's like, it's not there. The roof is in the trees.
It did significant damage to the home next door. The home of the explosion was a total loss.
When first responders arrived on scene, what was left was still burning.
We're still extinguishing the fire and we're doing a search. We always do a thorough search no matter what. And hats off to the men and women of the Detroit Fire Department, our medics. We showed up, fast response. So we're doing that hard work right now.
The explosion blew out a portion of the home next door, including the windows.
3 children were transported to St. John's with lacerations and cuts.
And they was in their own room playing, and he heard the explosion and tried to get them all out at the same time, but he couldn't get them all out.
DTE tells us a gas crew was dispatched to the scene, but only to keep firefighters, police, and other community members safe. State police also sent up a helicopter and used a canine to help in the investigation. So far, a cause of all this has yet to be determined. Everyone I spoke with here on scene said they did not smell any gas prior to the explosion. Neighbors also tell me they believe that house was vacant. Again, it could be some time before we figure out an exact cause of the explosion. In Detroit, Dave Spencer on The Edge.